poetry, beauty, romance, love. These are what we stay alive for.
Hi there. This is the Poetaster Act, and welcome to the Blue Hour. I'm the Poetaster. This podcast was made because I kind of felt that, poetry deserves to be, everywhere. It deserves to have a stage. It deserves to have a final act. It is, not a final act, but you get what I'm saying. This is the first episode, and essentially what, this podcast is going to maintain is reading poetry, talking about poets, how poetry is in everyday lives, how every single day, every waking moment, it's art and poetry filled around us, to the tiniest of things. And I want to start off with a poet. Arthur McGill is his name. And he wrote a collection of poems called The Society of Mutual Back Scratchers. I'm really fond of that title too. It's I like it. And on the back of it, he wrote, "Poetry should be about our everyday lives. Incidents at a PTA meeting or on a bus ride, a conversation overheard in a supermarket or a restaurant. We should hear the key turn in the lock." And I feel that we need that. We definitely need that in this world. And I'm going to try my best to put it out there. So again, that's Arthur McGill. The Society of Mutual Back Scratchers is the book. I bought this at a bookstore, in the West Coast. But we're going to start off with a little line that has to do, about poetry. And it says, let me see. There's quite a few, but don't let them tell you poetry is for the birds. I like that. And it's a little book that I have. It's Poetry as Insurgents Art by, I might be butchering it, Ferlinghetti. It's got a lot of one-liners. I assume it's a collection. I used to be a huge fan of those one-line poems, the hooks, so to speak. It's not the hook of a poem, but it's just, one line. And I went from, searching from hopeless romantic poetry to being gifted a Charles Bukowski book by someone. And that sent me down, the lane of D.H. Lawrence, and again, Arthur McGill, Leonard Cohen, just a whole bunch. And I'm gonna read a few. I'm gonna dissect what I think it means, why I think it's important that, at least once in your lifetime you hear it. And again, how it's just around us. So, to begin, I think I'm going to start off with Charles Bukowski, one of my favorite poets. It's his book, The Continual Condition. And his writing style is very raw and doesn't hold back, which it was something brand new introduced to me when I first discovered him. And so this is one of my all-time favorite Charles Bukowski poems, and it's "I Am Chastised," and it goes. She was driving the car. There was a sharp disagreement about something. She parked and we got out to go into the cafe to eat, and I told her, "Without me, you are nothing, and with me, you are even less." She said, I really have to laugh at you. You're so pathetic when you try to act superior." I didn't answer. We entered. We're taken to a table and opened our menus. "I'll have a Chinese beer," I told the waitress. "No." That. So, two things about this poem. Without me, you are nothing, and with me, you are even less. That tells you a lot about the kind of person Charles Bukowski is. He's, guy had a rough life. Said he, survived on just, candy bar a day, which was payday, and, he was known to be a drunk, and, he worked at a job that he didn't like for years after years, and I don't want to say he didn't become successful. I want to say got recognized around 35, I believe. Do not crucify me if I got that wrong, but yeah, and just that line again, "With me you are even less." And that could be applied to even your modern day problems that you have with relationships, where someone's self-aware of the way they're treating somebody else, and yet it's kind of like you don't leave. That person doesn't go anywhere. They keep them hooked like a fish in a small pond. And they know, without me, you are nothing. And with me, you are even less. It's like a loss of respect that Bukowski has for the girl, because she doesn't leave, well knowing the situation. And maybe it is, maybe it's not, but I kind of connected this to, in some sort of way, to God. When she laughs, you are so pathetic when you try to act superior. To me, it's got a little bit of God play in it. As I read it, because you have God, whether you believe in a God or not. And I'm about to talk about that with the next poem by Leonard Cohen. But whether you believe in a God or not, it's essentially kind of like a chessboard piece where, not a chessboard piece, but the almighty, all-powerful, the creator of this universe, laughing at you because you think you're in control. And I like the last line, how he demands the waitress, he wants it now. Maybe he does know he's not in control, but he could control that. I really I personally am a huge fan of any poems or poetries or anybody that challenges God or a higher being, so to speak. And the reason is because you don't know. Is there someone really up there? There's a heavy thunderstorm. It's pouring cats and dogs out, and you go out there wrapped in metal wire, copper, all of the above. Yes, you're asking to get struck by lightning, and there's a huge chance that you will be. But when you taunt God, you're poking the bear with a stick, and you step out on a sunny, cloudless day, and you ask to be striked. Do you win if he does? Because he proved to you that he's real? Or does he lose? Because he let you get the best of him. Or her. You never know. And yeah. And so, with that being said, I'm going to read a poem by Leonard Cohen. And again, he's a singer, or he sings a lot of good songs I like of him. I would check right now too, but I'm not too sure where my phone is. So we're going to skip that. But yeah, Leonard Cohen, really like his songs. And the poem that I'm going to be reading is Watching the Nature Channel. And it goes, "The boredom of God is heartbreaking. Fiddle, fiddle, fiddle." That, to me, is, fiddle, fiddle, fiddle. Cry me a river, God. It's no more than 3 lines. It's no more than 5 words per line. And it packs a hell of a punch. What did God do to you for you pretty much not to give a crap about him? To care less. What did he do? Why did he do it? I feel like a lot of people would ask. And, that's kind of what goes back and forth with religion. It's that why. And so, with that being said, yeah. The way this show is going to work, I assume, for the time being, I have a blueprint, but I'm not too entirely sure. I am going to read poetry. I am going to dissect it. I do hope to kind of get answers, from people I know, from friends, and just kind of entertain, why does God do this? Why do some people are so religious? And the kind of, I believe everything always circles back to love. No matter what it is, love has a part in it. And the reason I say that is because, you could have, somebody cheat on their significant other. Let's say they're not really religious. And, there's no excuse. And it's it. They just break up. Now, you can also have somebody else. 2 religious people. One cheats on the other. And then they want to fix it by the grace of God. God. As if God, out of 7 billion people in this world, cares about the relationship. But, it's it amazes me. And it dates back to love, because had those two people not been religious, maybe the one who got cheated on would have left. But because they love God so much, they put their faith in God that it could be saved. People stick with these ideas and views that they have, all because they love this God of theirs. And love is a very powerful thing, scary thing too. What it can make you do. It makes, some people kill themselves over somebody else because of how much they loved them. And they might not kill themselves, but they're willing to give up their life as well because of how much they love someone. And love is truly amazing. I'm not old, I can't say I have all the wisdom in the world, and I can't really say I know exactly what love is, but I know what it's not. And you learn every day. And I've read a lot of hopeless romantic poetry. But when you read D.H. Lawrence, when you read Bukowski, when you read all these other people who probably didn't experience love the same way others did, like Langleaf, Fawcett, R.M. Drake, Atticus, Rudy Francisco, all these poets. It's, you have to think, your love and how you think she dresses is completely different from somebody else's. And with that being said, I was trying to find another poem to read by D.H. Lawrence. Maybe of love. But I should have had it ready before I started, so I won't waste any more time. So, we talked about a little bit about religion, a little bit about love, and Bukowski too, man. That guy, him and women, guy's probably up there with Picasso. And so during these podcasts, I'm supposed to, I go into reading a poem. I explain what I think it means, how, why they meant to write it that way, why they should have wrote it. I'm supposed to, probably give a thought of the day. It doesn't really matter what it is. I mean, it could have been like, why, anything, really. It could have been about my cat, or it could have been about why I'm here, where I'm at. How I got here. And so, I'm just supposed to provide, research or details on some of these poets, which I am. Again, this is just the first episode. It's all rough, ballpark stuff. But I'm liking it so far. So, again, I share a verse, a paragraph, an entire poem, just kind of give my opinion on it. Or I go into reading another poetry, same thing. And again, a lot of this stuff pertains to every single day, every day. You might not know it. I mean, heck, it's in some of those, it's in some of your favorite movies. It's in some of your favorite TV shows. It might be the way your parents look at each other. It might be the way a bird flies freely. But it always goes back to one tree. It might be a single flower growing, in a dirt patch. It's all around us. It's everywhere. It's unavoidable. But it's, being alone is a form of art. That in itself. And with that, I feel would be a good stopping point. I will probably try to come up with a better format. So bear with me. But all in all, I enjoyed this talk. And just remember, the poet's voice is the other voice asleep in every human. I'm the Poetaster, and this has been the Blue Hour. Goodbye.